chosen one. There are moments in life that feel like they transcend the ordinary moments, where the world around you seems to slow down and your spirit begins to stir in a way that's hard to explain. You feel something deep within you, a shift, a whisper, a stirring that beckons you to pay attention. This is no coincidence. You are not here by accident. Every single moment, every joy and sorrow, every success and failure has led to this precise moment in time. This moment where heaven intersects with your life has been orchestrated by God Himself. It's not by chance that you find yourself here reading these words, feeling this tug in your heart. God has orchestrated this very moment for you. The path you've walked, the trials you've faced, the prayers you've whispered, and the doubts you've overcome have all been preparing you for what's about to unfold. Whether you realize it or not, you've been divinely positioned, and now you are standing at the threshold of something profound. The stirring in your spirit that you feel is no accident. It is the unmistakable signal of divine alignment. This stirring, this sensation of something shifting within you, is the confirmation that your life is exactly where God needs it to be. Heaven has paused your life for this sacred moment. In the hustle and bustle of the world, it's easy to overlook the quiet, powerful moments when God is calling you to a new level of understanding, a deeper relationship with Him, and a higher purpose. But rest assured, the pause you may feel in your life right now is not a random delay. It is a divine pause, designed specifically to bring you to this place of clarity, to this moment of awakening. Heaven has intentionally set aside time in your life to redirect your focus, to align you with the purpose you were created for, and to bring you into the fullness of your destiny. This is the moment where God is calling you to wake up, to recognize the divine invitation that has been extended to you. God's timing is perfect, and everything in your life has been leading to this season. The challenges, the silence, the waiting, and even the disappointments have all been part of the preparation. And now the doors are opening, the way is being cleared, and you are being invited into a season of fulfillment and divine purpose. The stirring in your spirit is not random. It is heaven, calling you forward into a new chapter, a chapter where you will step into the fullness of who you are meant to be. This divine pause, this sacred moment is more than just an awakening. It is an invitation. Heaven is inviting you to trust and to respond to the calling on your life. The stillness you feel is not meant to confuse you. It is meant to give you the space to hear God's voice more clearly. In a world filled with noise and distraction, it can be difficult to tune into what God is whispering to our hearts. But in this moment, heaven is giving you an opportunity to listen closely to the whispers that are beckoning you towards something greater. Every moment of your life has been preparing you for this awakening. The decisions you've made, the relationships you've encountered, the setbacks and the breakthroughs, all of it has been preparing you to recognize and respond to this divine call. Your life has not been a random series of events. Every experience, no matter how painful or joyful, has been part of the larger plan God has for you. Even when you felt lost or uncertain, God was guiding you, leading you through each step, each moment, to this sacred invitation to step into your higher calling. It's easy to feel like life is just a series of random events. It's easy to question why things happened the way they did. But when you step back and reflect, you'll see that God's hand has been guiding you all along. You've been learning, growing, and evolving even in the times when it felt like nothing was moving. And now, in this divine moment, you are being called higher, called into the fullness of your divine purpose. The invitation is clear. God is asking you to trust in His plan and to respond to His call. Trusting God is not always easy, especially when the path ahead seems unclear. But it's in these moments of uncertainty that your faith is strengthened. Trusting and responding to God's call requires you to let go of control, to release your desire to know every detail, and to step forward with the confidence that God's timing is perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need to know every step of the journey. What you need is trust, a deep trust in God's ability to lead you, to guide you, and to fulfill His promises over your life. This is your moment of decision. You are being invited into something greater than what you've known before. It's time to move forward with confidence, knowing that God has prepared you for this moment. Your life, your heart, your spirit have been aligned for such a time as this. The call to trust and respond is not a light one, but it is one that will lead you into the fullness of your destiny. The waiting has prepared you, the struggles have shaped you, and now you are being called to step into your divine purpose, to walk in the fullness of who God has called you to be. In life, there are times when we feel as if we are just going through the motions. We wake up, go through our daily routines, and hope that somehow things will change. But in this divine moment, the message is clear. You are being called higher. God is not calling you to stay where you are. He is inviting you to step into a new season, a season filled with purpose, destiny, and divine alignment. This is not just a call to a better version of yourself. This is a call to the fullness of what you were created to be. God has not designed you to live in mediocrity, to be trapped in cycles of confusion and uncertainty. You were created for more. Your spirit has been longing for something greater, and God is now opening the door for you to walk into that greater purpose. The call to higher ground is not always easy. It often requires us to face our fears, let go of old mindsets, and move past the comforts of the familiar. But God's calling is a divine invitation to leave behind the things that have held us back and to step into a future that is filled with His purpose. When you are called higher, you are called to greater impact, to greater faith, and to a greater relationship with God. This moment is not just an awakening, it is a calling to action. You are being invited to live fully in alignment with heaven's purpose for your life. The stirring in your spirit is the confirmation that you are ready for the next chapter, ready to step into the divine purpose that God has designed for you. And while this may feel like a leap of faith, know this: you are not jumping blindly. You are stepping forward with confidence, knowing that God has already paved the way. This moment of divine alignment, this stirring in your spirit, is not just for you to feel inspired, it's for you to act upon. Heaven is inviting you to trust, to respond, and to step into the higher calling that God has prepared for you. Every moment of waiting, every trial you've faced, and every lesson you've learned has been leading you to this sacred moment of response. You are being called to higher ground, to embrace the fullness of God's plan for your life, to step into divine purpose, and to walk confidently in the destiny that has always been yours. Will you answer the call? Will you trust that the path before you is being divinely guided, even if it's not fully clear yet? Will you respond with faith, knowing that this moment is a divine invitation to walk in the fullness of God's purpose? For you, the message is clear. You are being called higher. It's time to trust, to respond, and to step into your divine destiny. Your future is waiting, and it's time to walk boldly into it. Every moment of your life has been a part of a greater tapestry, intricately woven by God's hands. When you look back over the course of your journey, it's easy to see the obstacles, the pain, the rejections, and the moments of silence as random misfortunes, as unfair circumstances that disrupted your peace. But in reality, every pain, rejection, and season of silence has been divine preparation. These experiences were never about punishment. They were the tools God used to prepare you for what lies ahead. Tools that are sharpening you for the purposes He has planned for you. The trials you have faced were not meaningless. They were not sent to break you down, but to position you for something far greater. It's in the hardest seasons of life that we often experience the deepest growth, the most profound transformations. Every hardship was part of your divine positioning. The difficulty, the heartache, the times when you felt abandoned, those were not mistakes. They were steps on the ladder of growth that God was building under your feet. Those moments of despair were often the moments when God was holding you closest, helping you become who you were always meant to be. Without the trials, the waiting, and the challenges, you would not have been prepared for the miracles that are about to unfold. You may not have understood at the time why things were happening the way they did. It might have felt like doors were closing, paths were getting blocked, and your prayers were going unanswered. But the truth is, God was not distant from you during these times. Heaven was deeply involved in your journey. The very trials you experienced were God's way of preparing you for what was to come. He saw the tears you cried when no one else could see them. He heard the prayers you whispered when you thought your voice was too weak to be heard, and even in your silence he was working tirelessly behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail of your life with divine precision. It's easy to become disheartened when things don't go according to plan, when life seems to be falling apart, or when the waiting feels endless. But God has always been there. Even in the quiet moments when it felt like nothing was happening, God was at work. His hand has always been guiding you even when you couldn't see it. Every step you've taken, every moment you've endured has been under the loving and careful supervision of a Father who has been preparing you for the beautiful plans He has for you. His hand has been on your life, guiding you, shaping you, and getting you ready for this very moment. The moment when everything aligns and the divine shift begins to unfold. Now, as you stand at the threshold of this divine moment, recognize that this is not a random event. It's not just another season of life that will eventually pass. This is a divine intervention. Heaven has seen your struggles, your perseverance, and your faith. And now it's stepping in to make sure that the next chapter of your life unfolds in the most miraculous way possible. You may have heard of angels before, but now is the time to recognize that angels have been dispatched on your behalf. Heaven has not left you to navigate this journey alone. God's messengers have been active, working behind the scenes to guide, protect, and reposition you for the divine purpose He's called you to fulfill. The divine shift you feel in your spirit is not a coincidence. It is the active work of angels being sent to assist in your divine realignment. Angels are often described as messengers of God sent to communicate His will, bring comfort, and protect His people. Right now, in this moment of divine transition, there is a powerful movement in the spiritual realm. God is sending angels to guide you, to clear the path, and to prepare your heart and mind for what is coming. They are not just passive observers, they are active participants in your spiritual journey, moving things, shifting circumstances, and ensuring that you are walking in alignment with God's will for your life. What's even more significant is that this divine intervention is not simply about what happens around you, it's about what is happening within you. The angels are working to align your heart, your mind, and your spirit with God's perfect plan. The shift you feel is a result of God aligning your heart with His, positioning you for the breakthroughs, opportunities, and divine connections that are about to come into your life. In every journey there comes a moment when we know that things have changed. It feels as if we're stepping into something new, something greater than what we've known before. This divine shift is your invitation to step into the next chapter of your life. And the beauty of it is that heaven is guiding every step. You are not walking this journey alone. God is with you, leading you toward your destiny every step of the way. This shift is not just about a physical change or a new relationship. It's a spiritual realignment. God is positioning your heart and your spirit to receive what He has already prepared for you. It's like the pieces of a puzzle that have been out of place are now coming together, and you can see more clearly than ever before. The challenges you've faced, the moments of silence, and the times of confusion were all preparation for this divine moment where you are finally aligned with God's purpose for your life. You are not walking into this next chapter blindly. You are being led by heaven. Every step you take is divinely guided, even when it feels uncertain or unclear. The moment you're stepping into requires faith. Faith that the way is already being prepared. Faith that the divine timing of everything is being orchestrated by God Himself. As you step forward, trust that God is guiding your every move, making sure that you are in the right place at the right time. This moment is one of divine alignment. Everything that has happened in your life, the heartaches, the struggles, the disappointments, has been leading you to this point of fulfillment. The silence, the waiting, the tears were all part of the process that brought you to this moment. And now, with everything aligning in heaven's timing, you are stepping into a season of overflowing blessings. God is guiding your every step, and the path before you is one of divine purpose, direction, and grace. You've arrived at a defining moment. A moment where everything shifts. The wait is over, the silence has spoken its final word, and now the moment has come for you to move forward in confidence and trust, knowing that this divine shift is a wake-up call from heaven. This call is not just an invitation to recognize the changes happening in your life, but to step into them with boldness and trust that God's hand is guiding every step. What you are feeling right now, this stirring in your spirit, the sudden awareness of divine timing, the urgency to move forward, is not a coincidence. It is heaven's invitation to walk into the purpose that has always been yours. You've been prepared for this moment. The waiting and the struggle have shaped you. Your heart has been refined. Your faith has been tested. And now you stand on the threshold of a new chapter, with heaven's backing, knowing that your divine purpose is unfolding right before you. The divine shift is not just something happening in your external world. It is happening within you. God is awakening something inside of you, a deeper awareness, a stronger faith, a more resolute confidence in His plan. The angels are working on your behalf, aligning circumstances, opening doors, and clearing the way for the fulfillment of what God has promised. This is your time. This is your divine awakening. Heaven has always been watching, but now it's your turn to walk boldly into the destiny you were created for. This is not a random event. This is not just another phase in life. This is divine intervention, a sacred moment where you are being realigned with the divine plan that has been unfolding since the beginning of time. Your journey has been leading you to this point, and everything is aligning for your breakthrough. This is your moment to respond to trust and to step into the fullness of what God has prepared for you. You have been through a process, a refining, shaping, and preparing that has been leading you to this very moment. Now, as heaven aligns everything for your breakthrough, remember this truth. You are not walking alone. Heaven is guiding every step, and every moment of your life has been leading to this divine alignment. The doors are opening, the path is clear, and you are stepping into your divine destiny. Trust the timing. Trust the process. Trust that this divine intervention is exactly what you have been waiting for. There are few things more powerful than the lies the enemy whispers into our hearts, especially when we're standing at the threshold of something great. Doubt and fear are tools he wields to make us question our worth, our calling, and God's plan for our lives. You may have heard these lies before. You're not good enough. You've been forgotten. Others are more deserving of this blessing than you are. These thoughts, which feel so real in the moment, are not from God. They are designed to hold you back, to make you hesitate, and to stop you from walking confidently into the future that heaven has already prepared for you. But let me remind you of one powerful truth. God has never forgotten you. He has never overlooked you. Heaven has always had a perfect plan for your life, a plan that has been unfolding since before you were born. Even in moments when you couldn't see the road ahead, even when you felt alone or abandoned, God was there, orchestrating everything in His timing. The lies the enemy tries to plant in your mind, the fear, the doubt, the insecurity, are simply distractions. They are meant to turn your eyes from the truth that is right in front of you. The truth is, this God's plan for you is far greater than anything you could imagine. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. You are precisely where you need to be. And this moment in your life, this divine alignment, is God's way of showing you that everything He promised you is coming to fruition. Every rejection you faced, every delay, every time you thought something should have happened but didn't, it was heaven protecting you. It may not have felt like protection at the time, but in hindsight, you can see that those closed doors were actually keeping you from counterfeit blessings. God was protecting you from things that weren't meant for you, things that might have distracted you or kept you from stepping fully into your divine destiny. The blessings that were meant for you, the ones that align with your purpose, are still coming. Heaven's timing is perfect, and everything that has happened, every rejection, every delay, every struggle, has been part of the divine process that is now leading you into the fulfillment of God's plan for your life. The truth that heaven wants to speak over you today is simple. You are seen. You are known. And the plans God has for you are unfolding perfectly in His time. One of the greatest struggles that many face when walking out their faith is the battle between faith and fear. The enemy will try to keep you stuck in a perpetual state of doubt, hesitation, and second-guessing. When you're on the verge of a breakthrough, fear can feel overwhelming. It seems like every part of your being wants to move forward, but fear keeps pulling you back, whispering, "What if it doesn't work out? What if this is all a mistake? What if I'm not ready?" These are the questions the enemy plants in your mind to prevent you from stepping into what God has for you. Fear paralyzes us, keeps us stagnant, and causes us to miss out on the blessings that God has already lined up for us. But faith, on the other hand, is the antidote to fear. Faith says, "I will trust God even when I cannot see the way forward." Faith says, "I will believe that His promises are true even when my circumstances don't reflect them." Faith is the weapon that will break through the lies the enemy has planted and lead you into your divine destiny. When you choose to live by faith instead of fear, you are choosing to align yourself with God's will. You are choosing to trust that His timing is perfect, even when the road ahead seems uncertain. The enemy will try to use fear to keep you from moving forward, but God's perfect love casts out all fear. 1 John 4:1-8. The moment you choose to trust God, to embrace faith over fear, you activate the power of the Holy Spirit in your life. The Holy Spirit guides, strengthens, and equips you to face the uncertainties with courage, knowing that God's hand is leading you. Faith is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move forward despite it. Fear says, "Stay where you are, play it safe." Faith says, "Step out of the boat, even if the waters seem terrifying, because God is with you." This is your moment to choose faith over fear. Trust that God is leading you even when the way isn't clear. Trust that His timing is perfect and that He has already gone before you, making a way where there seems to be no way. The journey ahead may feel uncertain, but the one thing you can be certain of is that God is faithful. His plans for you are good, and He will lead you into the fulfillment of every promise He has made. Trusting God's timing is one of the most important aspects of the Christian faith. In a world that thrives on instant gratification, trusting in God's timing can be incredibly difficult. We want things to happen now. We want to see results immediately. But God's timing is not bound by the constraints of the world's clock. He operates on an entirely different schedule, one that is perfect in every way. God's timing is always on time, even when it doesn't feel like it. When you've prayed for something for years, or when you've waited for a breakthrough for what seems like an eternity, it's easy to start wondering if God has forgotten about you. But I want to remind you today that God has not forgotten you. He sees you. He knows your struggles, your desires, your hopes, and your fears. And He is working behind the scenes, even when you don't see any movement. Every step you've taken, every prayer you've whispered, every tear you've shed has been part of the process. God is aligning everything in His perfect time. The waiting period has not been wasted. It has been a season of preparation, a time where God has been getting you ready for the blessings He is about to pour into your life. Trust that what you have been waiting for is coming at the right time, not a moment too soon and certainly not a moment too late. God is never late. His timing is never off. Everything that has happened in your life has been part of the perfect plan He has for you. You may not understand it now, but one day you will look back and see how every trial, every delay, and every moment of waiting was designed to align you with His will and purpose. The waiting period is not a delay in God's promises, it's the period in which God is perfecting His work in you. This is where trust becomes essential. Trusting God's timing means believing that He knows what is best for you, even when you don't understand why things are happening the way they are. Trusting God's timing means acknowledging that His plan is far greater than your own, and that He sees the bigger picture. It's trusting that the desires in your heart are not random, they are part of the divine plan He's been unfolding for you. And when the time is right, He will bring everything together in perfect alignment. As you move forward into the divine alignment God has set for you, the battle is no longer about your circumstances, it's about your faith. The enemy will try to feed you lies, trying to keep you in a state of confusion and doubt. He will tell you that you're not worthy of the blessings God has promised, that you've messed up too many times to receive what God has in store for you. He will plant seeds of fear, trying to keep you from moving forward. But faith is your weapon, and it's the weapon that will break through every lie the enemy tries to plant in your mind. Faith is the shield that will protect you from the enemy's arrows of doubt. It is the force that will push through the walls of fear that the enemy tries to build around you. Faith is not about seeing the outcome, it's about trusting that God's plan is better than anything you can imagine. It's the decision to stand firm even when everything around you seems uncertain, knowing that God is faithful and His promises will come to pass. Faith is not passive, it is active. It requires you to take steps even when the path ahead isn't clear. It requires you to believe even when the enemy is telling you to doubt. And when you stand firm in your faith, you are activating the power of heaven on your behalf. Faith opens the doors that fear tries to shut. It breaks the chains that doubt tries to bind you with. Faith overcomes every lie and leads you into the fulfillment of God's plan. As you continue on this journey, remember this: God's timing is perfect and your faith is your weapon. The enemy will try to create doubt, fear, and hesitation, but you have the power to overcome. Trust that God is guiding you, aligning everything in your life according to His perfect will, and leading you toward the divine destiny He has for you. With each step of faith, you move closer to it. Trust that God has already prepared the way for your success, and as you walk forward, His guidance will be evident. Every lie the enemy has told you will be shattered by your faith. The lies of fear, rejection, and doubt will fall away as you stand firm in the truth that God has not forgotten you, that His promises are true, and that His timing is flawless. This is your moment to walk in divine confidence, to trust in the divine alignment that has been set for you. The battle is already won. The victory is already assured. Trust in God's timing, embrace the divine guidance that He is offering, and walk boldly into the future He has prepared for you. Your faith is the key that will unlock the doors to your divine destiny. Trust and walk in the fulfillment of God's promises. You've walked through seasons of waiting, seasons of doubt, and seasons of confusion. There were times when you wondered if your prayers were even reaching heaven, or if your longing for change was simply a distant dream that would never come to fruition. But here's the truth that you need to hold on to deeply. Your rescue is already in motion. The moment you have been waiting for, the breakthrough you have been longing for, is not something that will happen in the distant future. It is happening now, and heaven has sent 2 angels to guide and protect you along the way. You are not walking alone. God's divine intervention is at work in your life, and His angels have been dispatched to help clear the path ahead of you and strengthen you along the way. These angels are not sent by coincidence or by chance. They are heaven's tangible proof that God is actively working on your behalf, clearing away the obstacles that have stood in your way and strengthening your spirit to walk confidently into the promises He has made to you. Angels throughout Scripture are messengers and protectors. They serve to guide God's people, minister to their needs, and protect them from harm. And in your life, these angels are on assignment, actively moving to clear the way for you to step fully into your destiny. One angel is working on your behalf to clear the path ahead of you, removing any spiritual blockages, distractions, or forces that have tried to hold you back. The other is strengthening your steps, giving you the courage to walk forward in faith, even when the journey ahead seems uncertain. These angels are not distant beings who are uninvolved in your life. They are right here, right now, working behind the scenes to ensure that the plan God has for you unfolds perfectly. Heaven is not silent in your struggles. You are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses, and these angels are part of God's divine plan to move you from waiting to fulfillment. They are working tirelessly to ensure that the path is cleared and you are able to walk forward into the future that God has prepared for you. God has already dispatched angels on your behalf. The divine rescue mission you've been waiting for is already in motion. And these angels are not simply observing your life from a distance. They are actively participating in your breakthrough, preparing the way for your divine union, and ensuring that you are protected and strengthened as you walk in obedience to God's calling. Trust that this divine intervention is a sign of God's faithfulness. He is guiding, protecting, and clearing the way for the promises He has spoken over your life. God's promises are not simply granted to us by chance. They are unlocked through obedience. When you are walking in alignment with God's will, His blessings begin to flow into your life, and you begin to see the fruits of His promises coming to fruition. Obeying God's will is the key to unlocking your divine union and your purpose. It is through complete obedience that heaven's alignment is achieved, and the doors that have been closed to you are finally opened. Obedience is not about blindly following rules or expectations. It's about aligning your heart and your actions with God's will for your life. It's about trusting Him fully, even when the path ahead is not fully visible. Obedience to God is a choice to step out in faith, to trust His plan, and to walk in the direction He is leading you. And as you obey, you open the doors to His blessings, His favor, and His divine purpose for your life. You've been through seasons where obedience was a challenge, where following God's plan meant walking into the unknown, letting go of what was familiar and trusting that He would provide. But in this moment, obedience has become your lifeline. As you step into your divine union and your calling, your obedience becomes the bridge that connects you to the fulfillment of God's promises. When you choose to obey, you are actively aligning yourself with heaven's will, ensuring that you are walking on the path that God has prepared for you. Partial obedience, however, can leave doors unopened. It's easy to think that we can pick and choose which parts of God's will we follow, but the truth is that God's plan for your life is all-encompassing. He desires total surrender, total obedience, and complete trust. When you follow Him only in part, you limit the fullness of the blessings He wants to pour out on you. But when you surrender everything, your desires, your plans, your fears, your doubts, you align yourself fully with God's perfect plan for your life. In this moment, God is calling you to step out in bold faith and trust His timing. It is not a time to hold back or to question His direction. This is the moment when you must fully trust, when you must surrender the how and when, and place your life completely in His hands. As you do, the divine alignment you've been waiting for will become apparent. The pieces of your life, once scattered and uncertain, will fall into place as you walk in obedience to His will. God is not a distant observer in your life. He is intimately involved in every detail, guiding you, protecting you, and preparing you for the blessings He has planned. But in order for those blessings to manifest, you must align yourself with His will. This alignment is not just about following rules. It's about aligning your heart, mind, and spirit with the path God has laid out for you. It's about choosing to trust His plan even when it doesn't make sense, and to obey even when the road ahead seems unclear. The power of obedience is seen in its ability to unlock the doors that lead to your divine purpose. When you walk in alignment with God, when you trust Him completely, you allow the fullness of His blessings to flow into your life. But it's important to remember that obedience is a choice that must be made every day. It's not enough to trust God once and then return to your own ways. Obedience requires a continual act of surrender, a daily decision to trust that God's plan is better than your own. When you choose to walk in obedience, you are choosing to trust God's timing. You are choosing to believe that His ways are higher than your ways, and that His timing is always perfect. The delay you may have felt in your life, the moments when it seemed like things weren't happening fast enough, these were part of God's plan to prepare you for something greater. The very waiting that has felt like a hindrance is in fact the preparation that God has been doing in your life. Obedience is the key to unlocking your divine union. It is through your willingness to trust God fully, to follow His guidance, and to surrender your own will that you are stepping into the partnership God has destined for you. Your obedience in this season of waiting, this season of uncertainty, is the very thing that is positioning you for the breakthrough. Trust that as you walk in obedience, heaven is aligning everything to bring you into the fulfillment of your divine calling. One of the greatest obstacles in walking in obedience is the doubt and fear that can often rise in our hearts. The enemy will try to plant lies telling you that you're not good enough, that you'll never succeed, that God's plan will never come to pass. But faith is the weapon that will break through these lies and lead you into the fulfillment of God's promises. It is easy to feel fear when the road ahead is unclear. But faith is the assurance that God is faithful to His word, even when we don't see the evidence in front of us. Faith is the assurance that God's plan will come to fruition, even when the waiting feels long. It's choosing to trust in God's promises, even when everything around you seems to contradict them. Faith and obedience is powerful because it activates God's movement. When you trust God and act on His word, even in the face of uncertainty, you are inviting heaven's power into your life. Faith does not wait for the outcome to be visible. It acts in the face of uncertainty, trusting that God's will is greater than anything we can see. It is the belief that God is at work, even when we cannot see the results. When you act in faith, you align yourself with God's divine plan, and that alignment will unlock doors that no one can shut. You are standing at the precipice of a divine alignment, one that has been years in the making. Every moment of doubt, every setback, every challenge has led you to this place. Now it's time to walk boldly in obedience and faith, trusting that God's plan for your life is coming to fruition. Heaven is aligning the circumstances, angels are moving on your behalf, and your rescue is already in motion. Trust in God's perfect timing. Trust that every delay, every struggle, and every trial has been preparing you for this moment. Step forward in faith, knowing that God's plan is greater than anything you can imagine. Walk in obedience, knowing that your steps are being guided by heaven. And as you do, you will see the fulfillment of every promise God has spoken over your life. The path is clear, the door is open, and you are walking into your divine destiny, a destiny that is filled with purpose, love, and the fulfillment of God's promises. Now is the time to embrace the divine union, the divine calling, and the divine blessings that are waiting for you. Step forward in obedience, trust God's plan, and watch as heaven moves in ways that will change your life forever. The journey you've walked hasn't been an easy one. It has been filled with struggles, challenges, and moments of deep introspection. Yet every single step has been a part of your heart's purification. You've had to learn to trust, even when the road ahead was unclear. You've had to learn to love, not through the lens of your own desires or expectations, but through the lens of God's perfect love. In the midst of the pain, rejection, and waiting, God has been refining your heart. The heart that once sought validation from external sources has been softened by His love. The heart that once clung to control has been released into His hands, and the heart that once feared disappointment has now learned the beauty of divine trust. God has been working tirelessly in the quiet moments of your journey to transform you into someone who is ready for the love that He has destined for you. The power of surrender lies in the freedom it brings. It is the willingness to release your own grip on your life, to stop trying to control every outcome, and to let God be the one who shapes your path. Surrender is not about passivity or giving up. It is about actively choosing to trust. It is about placing your desires, your fears, and your hopes into God's hands, knowing that His plans are greater than yours. His timing is perfect, and His love for you is beyond comprehension. Surrendering control is the key to fully embracing God's perfect timing and His plan for your life. You cannot step into the fullness of His love and calling until you've released your need to control the outcome. Obedience is not just about following commands. It's about aligning your heart with God's will. When your heart is aligned with His, everything flows. Obedience becomes a natural extension of your trust in His character, His plan, and His timing. God's timing, while sometimes hard to understand in the moment, is always perfect. Surrendering to His timing means trusting that every detail of your life is under His divine care. It means trusting that even in the silence, even in the waiting, even in the unknown, God is working. He is shaping you, preparing you, and guiding you to the moment when His promises for your life will be fully revealed. Surrender is the act of choosing God's way over your own, even when it's uncomfortable. And when you choose to trust Him with every part of your life, you position yourself for His perfect plan to unfold. You will experience peace in knowing that you don't have to force anything to happen. God is already moving, already aligning your steps, and your obedience will unlock the doors He has been preparing for you. Pain and delay are often the hardest parts of the journey. In a world that moves at a fast pace, we are conditioned to think that we should always be making progress, achieving something, moving towards a goal. When the road is long and the answers are delayed, it's easy to feel discouraged, frustrated, or even abandoned by God. But pain and delays were never in vain. These very seasons of waiting were part of the divine refining process, a preparation for what is to come. Each moment of pain, each period of waiting, each door that seemed to close in your face has been used by heaven to shape you into someone who is ready for the love, the purpose, and the blessings that God has prepared. Sometimes God allows delays to prepare us for what is coming. He allows us to experience pain, not as punishment, but as a tool for growth. In the heat of the fire, the impurities of our hearts are burned away, leaving only that which is pure and refined. Every disappointment was part of this refining process, ensuring that your heart is now in alignment with God's will and ready to attract the love that complements your purpose. The pain you've experienced wasn't to break you, it was to build you. God allowed you to experience rejection, heartache, and disappointment, not to crush your spirit, but to strengthen your ability to receive the love and purpose He has in store for you. Sometimes we believe that if things go wrong, we are being punished or overlooked, but the reality is that God was using those moments to prepare you for the greater blessings ahead. Every time you've been disappointed, God has been growing your capacity to trust. Every time your heart has been broken, He has been healing it, strengthening it, and aligning it with His will. Every moment of delay has been part of the divine process that will lead you to the love that will not only heal you, but elevate you to fulfill your divine purpose. Your heart has been through the refining fire, and now it is ready. Ready to love with wisdom. Ready to receive love that is not fleeting or temporary, but eternal and purposeful. You are no longer carrying the weight of past heartaches, fears, or doubts. You have been purified, and now you are ready for the love that will carry you into your future, into your calling, and into the fullness of God's plan for your life. As you walk through the journey of life, there are many things we cling to: relationships, ideas, dreams, even old wounds. These things become part of us often in ways we don't realize, and we find ourselves holding on to them out of fear or comfort. But surrendering these things, especially the things we hold most dearly, is essential to receive the greater love that God has for us. Only by letting go of what was meant to be temporary can you receive what was meant for eternity. God's love is eternal, and the love He is preparing for you is far greater than anything the world can offer. However, in order to step into this love, you must first release anything that is not aligned with God's will for your life. This includes letting go of the past, forgiving those who have hurt you, and allowing God to heal your heart from wounds that have been lingering too long. You cannot receive what God has for you if your hands are still holding on to what He has already healed or removed. When you choose to surrender, you are choosing freedom, freedom from the past, freedom from bitterness, and freedom from the wounds that have been holding you back. This surrender allows God to replace what you've lost with something far greater: His perfect love, His divine purpose, and a heart that is fully healed and ready to love again. Surrendering control is not about giving up on the things you desire. It's about aligning your desires with God's will. It's about trusting that what God has in store for you is infinitely better than anything you could have planned for yourself. Letting go of the temporary allows you to make room for the eternal, a love that is unshakable, unbreakable, and perfectly designed for you. As you surrender, you open yourself up to the full restoration that God is bringing into your life. The old wounds, the old habits, and the old patterns that have held you back will no longer have a place in your heart. You will be restored not just in your relationships but in every area of your life. God is preparing you for a love that will complete you, but more importantly, a love that will align with your purpose, elevating both you and your partner to fulfill God's calling on your lives. The waiting, the pain, and the challenges you've faced were not in vain. Every step of this journey has been part of God's divine plan to refine you, heal you, and prepare you for the love that is coming. This love is not just any love, it is divine love, love that is aligned with your purpose and designed to elevate you both in your destiny. Through surrender, trust, and obedience, you are now ready to receive this love in its fullness. As you step into this new season, embrace the transformation that has taken place within your heart. You are no longer the person who entered this waiting period. You are a person who has been refined, healed, and prepared for what God has in store for you. The love that is coming will not just fill a void, it will complete you in a way that reflects God's perfect design for your life. Your heart is ready. Your spirit is aligned. And divine love is on the horizon. Trust in God's perfect timing and step forward into this new season, knowing that He has prepared everything you need to walk in the fullness of His purpose and His love. This is your time. Your heart has been restored, and now you are ready to receive the divine love that will elevate your purpose and bring you into the fullness of what God has destined for you. There are moments in life when everything seems to align perfectly. It's not a coincidence. It's divine timing at work. You've walked through seasons of heartache, confusion, and waiting, but now, as you stand at this moment, you can see clearly that everything has been leading to this point. Every season of pain, every heartbreak, every unanswered prayer has been preparing you for this divine alignment. God has been working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail of your life to bring you to this very moment. And now, as the divine union unfolds before you, it's time to recognize that this is the culmination of heaven's plan. The seasons of waiting that once felt unbearable were not wasted. They were essential for your growth, your healing, and your preparation. God has been shaping you, refining you, and aligning you with the love and purpose that He has designed for you. As you stand at the threshold of this divine union, you can now see that the waiting, the pain, and the struggles were all part of God's perfect plan to bring you into the love that will elevate you, complete you, and align with your divine destiny. The moment of alignment is now upon you, and it is no coincidence. It is the fulfillment of God's promises for your life. Trust in the fact that you are now prepared to embrace the divine love that heaven has for you. Every hardship you've endured has shaped you into someone who is now ready to receive and give love with wisdom, grace, and purpose. This is not just any love. It is the love that has been divinely assigned to you, the love that aligns with your calling, and the love that will support you in fulfilling God's plan for your life. You are stepping into a union that is not only designed for companionship but for a greater purpose. Take a moment to recognize the beauty of where you are right now. Every step you've taken, every challenge you've overcome has led you to this divine moment. This is the moment where everything comes together, the culmination of your faith, trust, and obedience to God's plan. The right person is not someone you've stumbled upon by chance. They are divinely assigned to you, and this union is not by accident. It is heaven's promise coming to fruition. The journey of waiting and healing is often marked by a deep desire to control the outcome. We want to know when things will happen, how they will happen, and who will be a part of that journey. The desire to control can stem from fear, fear of disappointment, fear of waiting too long, or fear of not receiving what we truly desire. But God is calling you to release the need for control and to fully trust in His perfect timing. The divine union that is meant for you will come to you not because you forced it or rushed it, but because God is working everything together in His perfect plan. Letting go of control can be one of the most challenging aspects of stepping into a new season, especially when it involves something as personal and profound as love. But the beauty of trusting God is that it allows you to release the pressure of trying to make things happen on your own. It is the surrender that makes room for God's timing to unfold. When you stop trying to force the outcome, when you stop pushing for something to happen in your own strength, you allow God's hand to guide the way. Trusting God's timing means acknowledging that the right person will come at the right time. You don't have to worry about when or how it will happen because God is in control. The enemy may try to plant seeds of doubt in your heart, convincing you that you are running out of time, that the right person is never going to show up, or that you are somehow unworthy of the love you desire. But these are lies meant to distract you from the truth that God has already prepared your heart, your future, and the love that will accompany it. Surrendering control doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing faith over fear, choosing to believe that God's plan is infinitely better than your own. The love that is meant for you will come not when you force it, but when you allow God to bring it into your life at the perfect moment. Trust that God's timing is flawless. The waiting and the preparation have not been for nothing. Every step you've taken, every prayer you've prayed, has been part of God's timing to bring you into the love you've been waiting for. One of the greatest struggles in any season of waiting is the battle between faith and fear. Fear has a way of creeping in during moments of uncertainty. It whispers doubts into your mind, telling you that you're not good enough, that your breakthrough is never coming, or that your desires are too big. Fear keeps you stuck, hesitant, and afraid to take the next step. But faith is the antidote to fear. Faith is what propels you forward when everything around you seems uncertain. Faith is the belief that God is in control even when you can't see the full picture. The enemy wants you to stay in fear, to doubt God's timing and His promises, but faith in God's word will always overcome fear. The fear of the unknown, the fear of disappointment, and the fear of failure all come from the enemy trying to keep you stagnant and unable to move forward. But when you choose faith, you choose to believe in what God has promised even when it seems impossible. Faith is the weapon that breaks the chains of doubt and moves you toward the fulfillment of God's plan. You have been waiting for this moment, and faith is what will carry you across the finish line. Faith says, even though I can't see it yet, I believe that God is working. Faith says, even though it seems like nothing is happening, I trust that God is preparing the way. Faith is the belief that despite any obstacles or setbacks, God is faithful, and He will fulfill every promise He has spoken over your life. Choosing faith over fear is an act of defiance against the lies of the enemy. It's choosing to trust that God's plan is far greater than your own understanding. Faith will open the doors that fear has tried to close. It will allow you to step forward with confidence, knowing that God is leading you, guiding you, and opening the right doors at the right time. Fear may try to keep you in the past in the cycle of doubt and uncertainty, but faith will carry you into the future, a future filled with divine love, purpose, and fulfillment. You do not have to live in fear of rejection, disappointment, or delay. God's promises are true, and His plan will come to fruition. As you step forward in faith, the next step is walking in obedience and courage. Obedience to God's will is the foundation of any divine blessing. It is through obedience that you align yourself with God's perfect plan for your life. The courage to walk forward in obedience even when the road ahead seems uncertain is what will bring you into the fulfillment of God's promises. This moment, the moment of divine union, is not just about meeting the right person. It is about aligning yourself with God's will and walking in obedience to His calling. God has been preparing you for this moment, and your obedience now is the key to unlocking the blessings He has promised you. Walking in obedience doesn't mean the journey will be without challenges, but it does mean that God will be with you every step of the way. The love you've been waiting for is not an accident. It is part of God's divine plan, and your obedience to His will is what will lead you into the future He has prepared. Each act of obedience strengthens your faith, fortifies your heart, and positions you to receive the love and the purpose that God has designed for you. The courage to trust God's timing is essential. It takes courage to step out of your comfort zone, to release the control you've held onto, and to trust that God is leading you to something greater than you ever could have imagined. This courage is a spiritual act of faith, a choice to believe that God's timing is not only perfect, but that He is faithful to fulfill His promises, even when you can't see the outcome yet. With every step of trust, every act of faith, you move closer to your divine union. You are not walking alone. God is walking with you, and the angels He has dispatched are guiding you. This is a time of divine alignment, a time to step forward with courage, knowing that you are moving in the direction that God has prepared for you. As you obey God's call, as you trust His timing, you are walking into the divine union that will elevate your life and fulfill your divine purpose. In this moment, as you reflect on the divine alignment, the journey, and the transformation that has led you to this point, take a deep breath and step forward with confidence. Trust that the love you are about to receive is not random, it is God-ordained. Every moment of waiting, every trial, every act of obedience has brought you to the place where divine love is ready to find you. This union is not by chance. It is divinely appointed. The angels have been dispatched, and everything is in place for you to step into the love, the partnership, and the purpose that God has prepared for you. Trust that God's plan for your life is far greater than anything you could have imagined. Step forward in faith, obedience, and courage, knowing that this divine union is the fulfillment of God's promises. The best is yet to come. You are stepping into the fullness of your divine calling and divine love. Trust that God is leading you, guiding you, and aligning you with the perfect person who will not only complement your life but elevate it to the heights of purpose and fulfillment that He has always intended. Step forward with confidence, because heaven is on your side, and your divine union is about to be revealed. The love that is meant for you will come not when you force it, but when you allow God to bring it into your life at the perfect moment. Trust that God's timing is flawless. The waiting and the preparation have not been for nothing. Every step you've taken, every prayer you've prayed, has been part of God's timing to bring you into the love you've been waiting for. One of the greatest struggles in any season of waiting is the battle between faith and fear. Fear has a way of creeping in during moments of uncertainty. It whispers doubts into your mind, telling you that you're not good enough, that your breakthrough is never coming, or that your desires are too big. Fear keeps you stuck, hesitant, and afraid to take the next step. But faith is the antidote to fear. Faith is what propels you forward when everything around you seems uncertain. Faith is the belief that God is in control even when you can't see the full picture. The enemy wants you to stay in fear, to doubt God's timing and His promises, but faith in God's word will always overcome fear. The fear of the unknown, the fear of disappointment, and the fear of failure all come from the enemy trying to keep you stagnant and unable to move forward. But when you choose faith, you choose to believe in what God has promised even when it seems impossible. Faith is the weapon that breaks the chains of doubt and moves you toward the fulfillment of God's plan. You have been waiting for this moment, and faith is what will carry you across the finish line. Faith says, even though I can't see it yet, I believe that God is working. Faith says, even though it seems like nothing is happening, I trust that God is preparing the way. Faith is the belief that despite any obstacles or setbacks, God is faithful, and He will fulfill every promise He has spoken over your life. Choosing faith over fear is an act of defiance against the lies of the enemy. It's choosing to trust that God's plan is far greater than your own understanding. Faith will open the doors that fear has tried to close. It will allow you to step forward with confidence, knowing that God is leading you, guiding you, and opening the right doors at the right time. Fear may try to keep you in the past in the cycle of doubt and uncertainty, but faith will carry you into the future, a future filled with divine love, purpose, and fulfillment. You do not have to live in fear of rejection, disappointment, or delay. God's promises are true, and His plan will come to fruition. As you step forward in faith, the next step is walking in obedience and courage. Obedience to God's will is the foundation of any divine blessing. It is through obedience that you align yourself with God's perfect plan for your life. The courage to walk forward in obedience even when the road ahead seems uncertain is what will bring you into the fulfillment of God's promises. This moment, the moment of divine union, is not just about meeting the right person. It is about aligning yourself with God's will and walking in obedience to His calling. God has been preparing you for this moment, and your obedience now is the key to unlocking the blessings He has promised you. Walking in obedience doesn't mean the journey will be without challenges, but it does mean that God will be with you every step of the way. The love you've been waiting for is not an accident. It is part of God's divine plan, and your obedience to His will is what will lead you into the future He has prepared. Each act of obedience strengthens your faith, fortifies your heart, and positions you to receive the love and the purpose that God has designed for you. The courage to trust God's timing is essential. It takes courage to step out of your comfort zone, to release the control you've held onto, and to trust that God is leading you to something greater than you ever could have imagined. This courage is a spiritual act of faith, a choice to believe that God's timing is not only perfect, but that He is faithful to fulfill His promises, even when you can't see the outcome yet. With every step of trust, every act of faith, you move closer to your divine union. You are not walking alone. God is walking with you, and the angels He has dispatched are guiding you. This is a time of divine alignment, a time to step forward with courage, knowing that you are moving in the direction that God has prepared for you. As you obey God's call, as you trust His timing, you are walking into the divine union that will elevate your life and fulfill your divine purpose. In this moment, as you reflect on the divine alignment, the journey, and the transformation that has led you to this point, take a deep breath and step forward with confidence. Trust that the love you are about to receive is not random, it is God-ordained. Every moment of waiting, every trial, every act of obedience has brought you to the place where divine love is ready to find you. This union is not by chance. It is divinely appointed. The angels have been dispatched, and everything is in place for you to step into the love, the partnership, and the purpose that God has prepared for you. Trust that God's plan for your life is far greater than anything you could have imagined. Step forward in faith, obedience, and courage, knowing that this divine union is the fulfillment of God's promises. The best is yet to come. You are stepping into the fullness of your divine calling and divine love. Trust that God is leading you, guiding you, and aligning you with the perfect person who will not only complement your life but elevate it to the heights of purpose and fulfillment that He has always intended. Step forward with confidence, because heaven is on your side, and your divine union is about to be revealed.